Majority of people that wager on college football this weekend will lose money. Why? Very difficult to handicap college football this early in the season because we just don't have statistical data on these current teams. However, I'm going to give you two key concepts to focus on that's going to give you a really good chance of turning a profit this week in college football. My name's MGCovers. Greatly appreciate you tuning into this video. Big shout out to everybody that has subscribed here in the last month. This is the most amount of growth we've ever had on this channel in 1 month. I'm dropping a short every day, putting out a lot of good content, so I greatly appreciate those of you that are liking the videos and have subscribed to the channel as well. All right, let's dive into it. We got games going off tonight, which is Thursday, August the 29th. And what I want to talk about these two concepts. Number one, home football teams in college football wins 70% of the time. I did not say cover. I said the home team in college football wins 70% of the time. That's the first concept that we need to talk about. So that also accounts for teams with big spreads. For what an example of that would be Howard and Rutgers, right? You see this line here is 39. It opened at 36.5. Rutgers is going to win this football game. The only question is, will they cover? So what we're going to do is, instead of focusing on these games with big spreads, what is a range we could use where we know that home teams win 70% of the time, but what's a range we can use where if that team wins, they're more than likely going to cover that number? And let's use a touchdown or less. So what we're going to focus on, two concepts. We're going to look at home teams, and we're going to look at where the line is basically 7 or less. So when you scroll through this, and the very first one we get is Lafayette and Buffalo. Going off at 7 o'clock Eastern tonight. You can see it opened at 3.5, and it's currently at 3.5. Now, the second part of this is what's going to be our trigger is going to be line movement. Now, line movement is very sharp for NFL and NCAA football. This early in the season, it probably will not be as sharp as it would be, say, week 3 or week 4 when we have some statistical data. However, it is all we have. And more times than not, if you follow sharp movement, it's basically getting another sharp's opinion on a game. So we can look at this game and how I would handicap it. The first way to look at line movement, it opened at 3.5 and it stayed at 3.5. The majority of time, if the line does not move, it favors the favorite majority of the time. And also, too, another way to gauge sharp movement, let's say closer to game time, this line will bump to 4. That is an indication of sharp movement, maybe like 30 minutes before the game, half an hour before the game. And then that would be a, quote, play on Buffalo. We have the home team. That means Lafayette only has a, quote, statistically speaking, 30% chance of winning. We follow the line movement, and this should increase our odds of cashing that wager. And let's look at the next one, Jackson State, Monroe. Interesting, this line opened at -7.5. Now, this line has moved in favor of Jackson State, 7.5 down to 5. So the only way I would look at potentially playing Monroe would be if that line went from 5 and bumped up to 5.5, right? Because if it stays as is, that line movement majority of time would favor Jackson State. And the only problem with playing Jackson State is only a 30% chance of winning on the away side. I'm not saying to avoid playing away teams, but I'm just giving you a very simple way to try to turn a profit here first week of college football season. Another one you can see there, Gardner-Webb and Wofford opened at 7, now at 6.5. That favors Wofford. And let me show you one where it's actually looks really solid. All right, let's look at this Coastal Jacksonville State. I made a video short about this earlier. This line opened at -4, now is at -3. So the initial line move to where the line move is now favors Coastal. However, this line open quickly moved in favor of Coastal, but in the last few days it was at -2, moved to -2.5, and now it moved up to -3. And you can see some books have this line as high as 3.5. So I think this is a really good play, even as it is at -3. If you want to watch that short, you can. I'll break down more specifics about that game. So that is pretty much a very solid play as is. However, if you wanted to wait, you could do that. And then let's say this line is at 3, and then maybe half an hour before it moves to 2.5 in favor of Coastal, then I would avoid playing that wager. So that's the concept. Now, if we look over here, what I did was I broke down all these games. We have Buffalo -3.5, Monroe -5. You have Minnesota +2. Gardner-Webb -6.5, Jacksonville State -3. San Jose State tonight -3. That line opened at 3. They're playing Sacramento State, so you got line moving in favor of Sacramento State. Again, would not really consider that unless we get line movement moving in favor of San Jose State. And then your games on Saturday, we don't have any on Friday. UMass -2.5, Northwestern -3.5, Florida playing their rival Miami. They're +2.5 dogs currently. South Alabama -6.5, Houston -2.5, and a really, really big game, probably the best game on Saturday. You have Notre Dame visiting Texas A&M. Texas A&M is 2.5, and I believe that line, let's check, I think it's already moved in favor of Texas A&M from opening. And we'll just check that one. Yep, so it was minus. It's actually moved to 3. So Texas A&M -1.5. Now it's at 3. So line movement has already moved in favor of Texas A&M. I don't think I will see it move higher than that 3. So if it closes at that 3 Saturday night, that will definitely be a good play. So if you like this type of content where you want to learn this business, you can subscribe to be a client. I have over 150 coaching videos to teach you how to get better at sports handicapping. It's $50 a month. It's very inexpensive. It's basically the Netflix Planet Fitness model. You get a ton of value, but it's very easy and very affordable. In addition to that, you get also my lines we have a college football, what I call a classes model. You actually see this model that I use for college football the first 3 weeks of the season. So you get access to that entire model if you're a client. You also get access to all my college football lines when we have the real model, which will start week 4. NFL model would start week 4, and as well as baseball season currently. And we're having a really good baseball season, currently sitting at like 51 units year to date. So you get access to all that. In addition, if you want to get access to all my plays, $100 a month, and if you join for the year, it's $500 a month. That is the best value. It's like getting an associate's degree in sports betting for $500. Link to join the description box. Good luck this weekend. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.